What if I told you, winning isn't about standing on a podium or holding a trophy? What if the real reward isn't in the applause but in the grind? In the late nights, the early mornings, the failures that nearly broke you? Winning isn't just a result. It's a mindset. It's not about medals, fame, or recognition. It's about the work no one sees, the pain you fight through, the obstacles you outlast, the tears you wipe alone when no one's watching. That's where winning truly lives. The reason I understand victory is because I've become intimate with defeat. I've lost. I've fallen short. I've been counted out more times than I can remember, but that's what makes the wins meaningful, because I earned them through the struggle. Everyone wants to win, but not everyone wants to learn how to lose first. Because here's the truth, you'll lose more times than you win. But each loss? That's a lesson. That's a blueprint. That's your grit being refined. And I've trained some of the greatest who ever do it. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Charles Barkley, Dwyane Wade, legends. Icons, but what made them great wasn't just talent. It was their relationship with loss, their ability to come back hungrier, sharper, more focused. You see, sustained winning doesn't come from luck. It comes from consistency, from your ability to reset your mind instantly after a setback. Once you've tasted real victory, felt that fire, you can't help but chase it again. One of Kobe's favorite words was obsession. He didn't just want to win, he was obsessed with it. Whatever your version of winning is, you have to be all in. The 3 greatest lessons I ever learned from MJ? Compete relentlessly, hold yourself accountable, and win at every level. Not just in sports, in business, in relationships, in how you show up for yourself and the people around you. Because true winning, it's not self-centered. When you win, others around you start to believe they can win too. You raise the standard. You show the way. Let me be clear, this isn't about basketball, it's about how you respond when the world expects you to fold. When Kobe bricked those 4 air balls in his first playoff run, he didn't hide, he didn't blame, he didn't flinch. He owned it. He went back to the gym. He rebuilt. Because the voice that matters most? It's not the critics, it's your own. MJ was told he'd never play at North Carolina. They said he didn't belong. But he wasn't there to prove them wrong. He was there to prove himself right. You can have fear. That's normal. But you can't have doubt. Fear is instinct. Doubt is poison. You're standing in front of an opportunity right now, the kind that only shows up once in a lifetime. And when you realize that, it changes how you play. It changes how you prepare. It changes your intensity. I remember when I dropped out of high school, I had nothing. And then one day, someone handed me a mic. I was 16. I spoke. Was it my best speech? No, but in that moment, I knew I could do it. The spark was lit, and now I'm passing that mic to you. You have an opportunity. So here's the question. Why give 70%? Why coast at 80%? When you have the chance to give 120% of your heart, your focus, your grind, why would you settle for anything less? You can't control everything. Not how the ball bounces, not how your body feels, not every outcome. But there's one thing you can always control. Your effort. And every single day when you wake up, don't just tell yourself, I'm gifted. Tell yourself, I'm going to outwork everyone who isn't. You've got the fire, you've got the gift. But let me be honest with you, that alone won't take you to the top, and it definitely won't keep you there. See, there's a type of person out there who thinks that talent is enough. They believe that just because they were born gifted, the world owes them something. They think the crown is automatic. But the truth is, your gift might get you noticed, but it won't get you crowned. So let me break it down. You've got skill, yes. But do you have will? Those are 2 entirely different beasts. Skill is what you're born with. Will is what you build. Skill opens the door. Will kicks it wide open and walks in like it owns the place. And the truth is, will keeps you in the room when talent starts to fade. You want to reach the next level? You want to rise higher, stay longer, stand stronger? Then you need to stop leaning on your potential and start leaning into your discipline. I was a high school dropout. My father was never around, but I discovered something powerful. Your gift will make room for you if you're willing to show up and perfect it. I realized that if I poured everything into this gift, I could eat, my kids could eat, and maybe even my kids' kids could eat because of what I built. So from this day on, whatever your best performance is, that's the level you need to show up with every single time. No more average, no more excuses, no more I don't feel like it. Yes, it's cold out there. Yes, the path ahead is uncertain, but the real question is, are you brave enough to walk into uncharted territory when no one else will? I'm challenging you now. Disappear for the next 30 days. No more noise. No more Netflix. No more distractions. You've got 720 hours in a month. What would happen if you dedicated every one of them to your future? Where focus goes, energy flows. And if your energy is going into comfort, entertainment, and scrolling, don't be surprised when your future doesn't change. You say, life has knocked you down? You're still here. You've survived the worst of your storms. So now ask yourself, how much longer are you going to stay stuck where you are? How bad do you want to level up? What are you really willing to do? Who are you willing to become? And who are you willing to let go to get there? Because everyone wants success. Everyone wants the mountain view. Everyone wants the recognition, the respect, the applause. But very few are willing to bleed for it, to sacrifice for it, to walk away from everything that's holding them back. So here's a question for you. Can you say no? Can you say no to the pain that's become familiar? No to the people who secretly don't believe in you? No to the fake support, the shallow promises, and the ones who only show up when it benefits them? Why are you here? Why are you still standing? And, more importantly, what are you going to do with this moment? Because make no mistake, you have purpose, you have destiny. There are people you haven't met yet, rooms you're meant to walk into, tables with your name on them. And the only thing standing between you and that future is what you do right now. So now you know what's at stake. The question is, do you have the courage to go all in? Because transformation doesn't happen by chance. It happens by choice. And sometimes that choice is as simple and as hard as sitting still long enough to face what's been holding you back. What if, for the next 30 days, you made a radical decision to turn off the noise, to silence the doubts, to grab a notebook and write down with brutal honesty everything that's been killing your spirit? Could you do it? Could you walk away from distractions, from fear, from people who don't believe in you? For just 1 month, 20 hours, that's all it takes to start reshaping your reality, to stop existing and start becoming. Because you only get one life. Rain, sleet, or snow, this is it, and the clock is ticking. So you need a skill, not just motivation, but something far more powerful. Pattern recognition. Think about it. Why is Amazon dominating? Because they saw one pattern. Convenience wins, and they built everything around it. Why does Tom Brady keep shattering expectations at an age most athletes are long retired? Because he doesn't just play the game. He sees the game. He notices patterns others miss. And then, he executes. It's not enough to just see the pattern. You've got to learn how to use it. That's pattern utilization. And if you go deep enough, long enough, you don't just follow patterns, you create them. You compose your own rhythm like a pianist who's played enough notes to write original music. The truth is, anyone can learn anything, if it matters enough. The reason most people never change? It's not because they can't. It's because the goal hasn't become urgent enough or personal enough. So here's the secret. Stop doing it just for yourself. Find a reason bigger than you, your child, your legacy, your mission, your purpose, your community. When your why gets larger than your own convenience, your energy becomes limitless. Your drive becomes unstoppable. And here's what I want to help you do in this season. Take what feels complex, overwhelming, and impossible, and break it down into simple actions you can take right now, not next month, not next year. Right now, because progress doesn't start with perfection, it starts with momentum. Day 1 becomes day 2, then day 3, then suddenly, what once felt hard becomes your new normal. That's how change works. Little by little, step by step, until the mountain you feared becomes the ground you now stand on. And here's what I've realized: I'm simply not willing to live a life without passion, without growth, without the fire to give, learn, stretch, and rise. Because the truth is, we were built to grow and give, and when we stop growing, we start dying. It doesn't matter what path you choose. If your heart is set on evolving, your life will be rich with meaning. Now think back just a year ago. We were told we were coming out of the storm, that the hard times were behind us. Vaccines, hope, optimism, and yet, here we are, and many people feel more lost now than ever before. Why? Because somewhere along the way, they lost the vision. They stopped believing in the possibility of a better tomorrow. They stopped setting goals. They stopped dreaming. Not because they don't want to, but because they've learned something dangerous. Learned helplessness. It's what happens when you face disappointment after disappointment, until you stop trying altogether. But let me remind you of one thing. Just because the struggle has lasted longer than you expected, doesn't mean it's meant to stay forever. But when pain lingers, it's easy to believe that this is just how life will always be. That's where most people get stuck. Not in the reality, but in the belief. You start to think the problem is permanent, that because you're struggling financially, your whole future is doomed, that because your relationship is falling apart, your life is falling apart too, but none of that is true. No problem is permanent. And no one mistake defines your entire identity. Your life is so much bigger than this moment. My goal right now is to shake you out of that mental fog, to pull you away from the mindset that says, this is it, it's over, because it's not. But here's the truth. Perspective doesn't shift by just sitting still and thinking harder. You've got to move. You've got to change your state, physically, emotionally, mentally. When you elevate your energy, your focus shifts. You stop spiraling in problems and start reconnecting with power. You begin to remember who you really are. And remembering who you are, that might be the most powerful thing you ever do. It reminds me of this old Batman cartoon. In it, Bruce Wayne loses his memory and ends up in a labor camp. He feels helpless, weak, stuck, until one moment something small triggers his memory, and he remembers. He's Batman, and just like that, he rises, he fights, he escapes. Not because he got stronger in that moment, but because he remembered who he was all along. Now, I know, it's just a cartoon, but the message, that hits deep. Because so often, we let life beat us down and make us forget our identity. So, when you feel anxious, afraid, defeated, tell yourself, remember who you are, because real, lasting change, it always begins with identity. We all define ourselves in certain ways, and those definitions shape what we do and what we think we're capable of. So where do you begin? Right where you are. You don't need a dramatic breakthrough or a viral moment. You just need to do what's right in front of you. Take one step, then another, and then another. Keep growing, keep discovering, and eventually you'll stumble upon your true calling, your voice, your lane, your purpose. Most people hit a wall around years 5, 6, or 7 of chasing a dream. They begin to question everything: their career, their health, their relationships. And then one of two things happens. They either change direction and feel reborn, or they double down. They realize, there's nothing wrong with what I've built. I just forgot why I started. And when they recommit, they become stronger than ever. But growth is the key. Without it, no matter what you have, money, fame, success, you'll feel empty, miserable. One of the hardest truths I learned early on is this: everything changes, everything ends. It might sound heavy, but it's actually liberating, because if nothing lasts forever, then today becomes more precious. And the future, it becomes an opportunity, not a sentence. You can't control every ending, but you can choose how the next chapter begins. And here's the reality. Most people don't move forward not because they can't, but because they've been trained to avoid risk. They've been taught to settle, to fear change, to stay where it's safe, even if it's slowly suffocating them. People always ask me, what does it really take to be happy? And I tell them, it's simple. One word: progress. Now let me give you 3 words that could shift everything. Shut it down. Log out of the noise. Unplug from the distractions. Step away from the world just long enough to hear yourself think. Take time to evaluate. Where am I? Where am I supposed to be? Yes, you're tired. Yes, you're hurting. Yes, there are wounds no one can see, but when you shut it down, you can begin to heal. You can hear your own voice again. You're standing at the edge of something incredible. A turning point, a breakthrough. All it takes is one leap of faith. Are you ready to jump? You're standing at the edge, the line between who you are and who you're meant to become. And the only way across is faith. It takes faith to leap into the unknown, to jump even when there's no safety net in sight, to walk away from everything, comfortable, familiar, predictable, and step boldly into uncharted territory. It takes faith to pursue purpose, faith to leave behind what was so you can step into what could be, faith to silence every voice of doubt and listen only to the one that says, you were born for more. So let me ask you again, can you disappear for 30 days? Not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually, mentally. Can you shut it down long enough to finally hear your own voice again? Because the first person who needs to be convinced of your destiny is you. Before you lead others, before you build anything, before you change the world, you have to awaken yourself. You have to choose a plan. Write it down. Commit. And then execute in silence. With conviction, you're still here. Life tried to bury you, but you weren't meant to be buried. You were being planted, and now it's time to grow, to rise, to become everything you were designed to be. But are you bold enough? Are you hungry enough? Are you willing to suffer now, to live the rest of your life as a champion? Let me be real with you. You will never move forward until you acknowledge the leeches in your life. It's time to clean house. Go through your contacts. Examine your circle. There are people draining your time, your energy, your purpose. They've been reprogramming you to settle for something you were never meant to accept. And if you want to break through, you need to align with people who believe in your purpose. People who challenge you, stretch you, position you for growth. For 30 days, just 720 hours, can you get honest about who's helping you and who's holding you back? Start writing it down. Write the names. Write the habits. Write the lies you've believed. Write down what's keeping you broke, bitter, anxious, stuck. Because you can't heal what you won't face. Your DNA, your very identity, has been shaped by people who don't even deserve access to your future. There's nothing wrong with loving people, but you cannot build a legacy with people who aren't willing to bleed behind closed doors the way you do. You want the reward in public? Then you better start doing the work in private. So go back. Review the conversations. Rethink the patterns. Reclaim your focus. Run through the mud. Walk through the storm. Inhale. Exhale. Yes, it's cold on the other side, but so what? Comfort is killing your calling. You've gone as far as you can go as the person you are today. If you want to go further, it's time to reinvent yourself. And reinvention requires silence. You keep trying to walk into your future while carrying a broken version of yourself, but your future doesn't need your pain, it needs your strength. Heal. Reset. Come back whole. Come back ready. And when you do, go back and reach for those who believed in you before the world ever knew your name. Bring them with you. But first, you must become the version of you that they believed in. I'm talking to you, the one who's tired, the one who's been anxious, overwhelmed, on the edge, the one who's felt hopeless, broken, even suicidal. You've lost people. You've been through darkness no one else knows about. But you're still here, and now, you have one choice left. Shut it down. For 30 days. No more talking, no more posting, no more promising. Just work, just grow, just rise. Disappear for 30 days, and come back unrecognizable. So now you know, success isn't about luck. It's not about talent. It's about mindset. It's about the fire you build when no one's watching. You've come this far. You've listened. You've felt it. Now it's time to choose. Not someday. Not later. Now. Because winning doesn't wait for permission, and the life you dream of, it's not waiting either. It's waiting for you to show up. So if this message stirred something in you, don't ignore it. Like this video to claim your momentum. Subscribe to join a tribe that refuses to settle, and share it with someone who needs this fire, maybe more than you know. At Motivation Hub Rise, we don't just talk about growth, we live it, we train for it, we rise through it. This is not just a channel, this is a movement. This is where your comeback begins. This is Motivation Hub Rise. Now go, train your mind, build your habits, win your future.